My sister-in-law stole my wedding plans, so I ruined her first dance song. Nice.
Sweet, sweet revenge.
An eye for an eye. I, female 26, never really got along with my sister-in-law, Elise, 24. She always just rubbed me the wrong way. By the way, this comes from Burner Problems 52496 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So a little background. In December 2021, my husband Alex, 26, was planning on proposing to me on a Christmas lights walk that we had done for our first real date 2 years before.
Cute.
Such cute. I, not knowing, invited Elise and Nick, 26, Alex's best friend and Elise's boyfriend, since they had been talking about wanting to go. Elise and Nick arrived earlier than us and walked the entire thing before meeting up with us. The whole time, Elise would not stop complaining, putting me in a sour mood. They left with barely a goodbye, and Alex asked me if I wanted to go another lap around. I said no.
Oh, no.
She's ruined the plans.
All his plans.
And I looked out the window and cried the entire way home, wishing I had never invited Elise to join us. Nick then proposed to Elise on Christmas Day just a few weeks later. Alex then proposed to me in our living room in May, since he wanted to give his sister a few months of being engaged and having a spotlight before proposing to me. So here's the story. So after we were both engaged, Elise and I were talking about wedding plans, and I decided to try and put my dislike for her aside and try to like her as she was going to be my family. She asked about my preferred wedding date, planned wedding colors, what songs I was thinking of for our first dance, and so on. She said that she had no idea what she wanted to do. I told her that I had been thinking of doing an autumn wedding with a date that would be easy to remember. I knew I wanted to use burgundy, my favorite color, and roses, my favorite flower. I told her at the time that I had a few contenders for the first dance song. I wanted it to be from the 1950s. I told her my dream date was 9/22/22 and that I was thinking about going south to get married because most of my family lived further south and I would rather that they didn't have to drive the entire way. About 2 weeks later, she announced that she got a date and a venue. She was going to have her wedding at a local farm and it was going to be on 9/23/22. She said that she wanted to do the 22nd, but the venue was already booked for that day. I rolled my eyes, but didn't say anything since I was still looking at venues and a date was easy to change. I helped Elise with designing save the dates and invites. Why?
Yeah, what?
Why? She stole your date.
Let her fend for herself.
Yeah, she can figure it out. Don't help her. Later, I asked Alex if he wanted to help pick a wedding date since he already knew that his sister had taken the date that I wanted. He said that he wanted to give his sister at least a year of being married before we got married. There is a trend there. I agreed to go ahead with the plan and found a venue I liked about 8 hours south and booked it for 11/11/23. I wasn't planning on doing save the dates or anything until after Elise's wedding. I kept looking at different ideas, continuing to talk to Elise about wedding planning. Nick asked Alex to be his best man, and Alex's half-brother and other best friend were asked to be groomsmen. Elise asked her sister to be her bridesmaid. I was the only one that wasn't part of the wedding party. Elise even went on Bumble to find another bridesmaid to make it an even number since she only had one friend who was maid of honor. Was I offended that I wasn't asked? I would be like bamboozled if someone was like, yeah, I went on Bumble friend instead of asking you.
Right.
Yeah, a little. Did I find it funny that she went on Bumble to find someone to be her bridesmaid? Definitely. 3 months before her wedding, I found out that I was pregnant and we decided to change her wedding date to before I had the baby. My husband thought that conceiving a baby out of wedlock was okay, but not giving birth to said baby. I looked around and found a local venue that did small elopement style weddings and a nice reception venue and started to cancel the plans we had already set and plan for a New Year's Eve wedding. I wasn't paying much attention to Elise or her wedding at the time. I was too busy planning the rest of my own life. 3 weeks before her wedding, Elise tells me that she still hasn't found her first dance song. I was surprised by that. I told her that I just looked at a theme for what I wanted and narrowed it down until I found the song that I wanted, which I ended up choosing Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis, which held a lot of meaning to me. It's a classic wedding song.
It is. I really hope that she didn't tell her that though. Yes. I'm so scared.
I told her the exact song that I chose.
No.
Okay. At a certain point, OP,
no,
you're causing your own problems.
No.
Like, obviously she's the a-hole, but like you're
No.
lighting the spark. You're giving her the matches.
I wish that OP knew that she would like copy everything ahead of time before she told her anything.
Yeah, and then she could just like
Just
give her false
sabotage.
information.
Yeah, like she's like, oh yeah, our wedding song is gonna be Cotton Eye Joe. So
We just really love that song.
And then you see them at their wedding. They're like,
Like,
I was there a long time ago.
You know what? That's kind of a fire wedding though.
Listen, I
Listen.
should play at the wedding at some point.
Yeah.
Hype up the crowd.
Yeah.
Everyone could do a little silly like
Yeah.
do-si doing.
I want to have a full on like swing dancing at my
Dude, me too.
wedding.
I want like a band, like having a live band.
Yes.
That would be so like I love a DJ because they could do like anything.
Yeah.
But also like
Live
having like a live
band.
like swing band.
Oh my
would
God,
be
I want a
so
live swing
fun.
band. I just want to do so much swing dancing because
Yes.
I always do it at parties.
Yeah,
my favorite
it's
thing.
the easiest go to.
It's the easiest go-to.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. A week before the wedding, there was some drama with Nick's side of the family and they were uninvited from the wedding. Elise wanted to change her entire wedding plans and asked me what I was doing. I told her what my wedding plans were and she smiled, looked at me, said, I like that. I think I'm going to do that. I was slack-jawed. She actually told me she was going to straight up steal my wedding plans.
Wait, that's when she gets
But with it being a week before the wedding, she wasn't able to change the plans without losing thousands of dollars, so she decided to stick to her original plans. After that, I asked Alex what color I should wear to the wedding. He said that he was wearing a dark red and black tux, but it wasn't. It was a black suit with a burgundy vest and tie. I was planning on doing burgundy and navy as our wedding colors. I had a burgundy dress with flowers on it that I wore to a different wedding that I decided to wear to the wedding. Alex then told me I was invited to hang out with Elise, mother-in-law, and the bridesmaids at the venue as they got ready, as Alex would be getting ready with Nick and the other groomsmen. I am pretty sure it was not Elise who invited me to join her, as when I showed up, she glared at me from the corner of her eye and didn't say a single word to me. I spent the time hanging out with the bridesmaids and having a wonderful time. The wedding started and I sat with Alex's dad and his girlfriend Grace. The ceremony went off lovely. Then it was time for the photography. The photographer said that it was time for the wedding party and the family to take pictures. Everyone else was to go inside and wait for the reception. I asked if I was needed for the photos, and they said that the bride's brother's fiance was not family. Grace asked if she was needed, and she was told that the bride's father's long-term, 14 years, girlfriend was not family. The aunts and uncles, with Elise's permission, asked if they could get a picture of the entire family, and they were told that the aunts and uncles were not family. I heard all of the complaints while waiting for the reception. I wasn't bothered by it, but the rest of the family was very offended by it. The aunts and uncles were already offended that none of the cousins were invited to the wedding. The wedding party finished up with the photos, and it was time to sit for the reception to start. I didn't know anybody at the wedding except for the family and the wedding party. I was looking for somewhere to sit when I noticed that nobody was sitting with Alex's dad and Grace. So I sat with them. The coordinator announced it was time for the first dance. At the first few notes, I knew. I looked right at Alex, and once he noticed, he looked at me. I was furious, seething. She used my song. I turned to Grace and told her that Elise stole my song, and I told her I was going to use that song. I tried to ignore the anger boiling up in me as I tried to enjoy the wedding. The food was terrible. Nobody danced when they opened the dance floor, and the cake was as dry as the rest of the reception. When stuff was winding down and I was getting ready to leave, I grabbed Alex and pulled Nick outside. I asked him if he knew that Elise stole our first dance song. He told me that he had no idea and that she sent him the song about a week before saying that she wanted to use it as their song. I told him that she asked me what song I was using 3 weeks ago, and I told her that exact song, and that Elise had told me at least a dozen times that she doesn't even like Elvis. Nick apologized to me, but I decided that it wasn't enough. She ruined the song for me. I decided that I wanted to ruin the song for her.
Oh, I forgot about the title on this. I'm so excited.
I laughed when I heard that Elise got COVID on their honeymoon in Jamaica. I continued to plan my wedding. I decided that I would include Elise as much as possible. I wanted to keep her on a tight leash. I asked Alex if she or his other sister would like to be bridesmaids. He said no, so I didn't ask them. I invited them to every event and invited them to get their hair and makeup done before the ceremony. I wanted her to feel as included and welcomed as possible. I told my photographer to get as many photos of the family as possible, but to limit the amount of photos she got of Elise. My photographer was a friend and had already heard everything about the drama that occurred with Elise's wedding. I moved songs around since I could no longer use that song as my first dance song. I used it as the song for us walking into the reception instead. The wedding day came and everything went without a hitch. I asked her if she wanted to join us for the wedding pictures, but she declined and went to hang out with her dogs, her word. Alex had Nick as his best man and his half-brother and other best friend as groomsmen, and I had my best friend as maid of honor and another friend as a bridesmaid. I wanted a small wedding party and didn't care if there was an odd number. Most of my friends weren't the type to enjoy being in a bridal party, and I was just happy to have them come to the wedding. I invited all of Alex's cousins to the wedding and let the aunts and uncles know that I told my photographer to get as many pictures of the family as possible, including them. I made sure that Grace knew that she was family as well. And I want you guys to know that you're family too, and we want you to listen to full episodes with stories like this. Just go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left, and I think we're about to find out how OP, got her revenge.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
Like, I feel like if like a friend was in this situation, I usually would like not recommend to a friend to get revenge.
Yeah.
However, as a viewer,
as a Reddit appreciator, I love revenge.
Very excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Everything was going great. Then it was time for our entrance. I used Can't Help Falling in Love, and I didn't even spare Elise a glance. Once that was over, food was served and speeches began. Dances were held, and once it was time to open the dance floor and socialize, Elise dragged Nick over to Alex and me. What she said next, I don't think I will ever forget. I see you used our first dance song.
Oh, God.
I smiled at her and said, well, it was originally ours, but I decided that it wasn't good enough for a first dance song. I watched her smile drop to a scowl as I beamed brighter and walked away from her to talk to another group. She did not smile for the rest of the wedding. Everyone still tells me how lovely my wedding was. There are no comments about Elise's wedding. I got our wedding pictures back a week later, and Elise didn't get hers back until June. Now, every year, the weekend closest to Elise's anniversary, I plan a party. This year it was a baby shower. My friends and I still laugh at Elise's face at my wedding when she tried to confront me for stealing her first dance song. And that is the end of that story.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a honestly really nice way to get revenge.
I thought there was like more revenge. It was just her being like, I didn't like it that much anymore.
Yeah.
But that is the end of that story and the end of this episode.
Whoa.
So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.